Welcome to Katie's Classroom. Today's episode is what I like to call a 5-1 generator. That's me. And then insert whatever my topic is here. Sharing personal stories are inspiring. It can spark ideas for you. I also just have really interesting things that happen to me with just living my life. And so, me sharing that is intended for you to kind of review how maybe you make decisions, because this one is going to be about decisions. Today's episode is on a 5-1 generator buys a wedding dress in her 40s and a second time around. So, decision making, also processing big emotions, having past memories come up, all of that part of the experience and healing that nervous system response and releasing, which we tend to think of tears as something that we don't want to have. We tend to label certain emotions good or bad versus recognizing how we use each one to move through experiences in unique ways. My mom's also not here this time around as I buy a wedding dress and prepare to marry 90s Dan. If you know, you know. And I thought this story was a great example of how a generator energy, or the classic builder energy, as we call them in corporate, which is designed to respond to things that light them up. And as a gut intuition, a sacral authority, as I call it in the human design, I am here to know my truth in the moment. And, but it can change over time because it's just in the moment. I can't predict the future. And when we interact with other energies, auras, environments, all of that impacts us. We are energetic beings. We are energy before we are biology. And it's important to remember that we know that cell phone frequencies, right? We can't see them, but we know they exist. So this is your frequency. I am a 5-1, and that one line, which is my body, is my genius comes out when I'm alone. I'm an investigator, I'm a researcher. It's why I have a degree in history, and it's why anything I've studied multiple sources and have sort of was trained as a historian with that lens of looking at how do you look at all of the sources, and then how do you form opinions on which interpretations work, etc. That is my approach, and it's my genius that comes out. My wedding dress is something I'm going to wear, so it's part of the body. And yet, the society way that you go and get a wedding dress, in my mind, was you get your girls together and you have them go and they have you help you decide what you want to do. Bridal dress shopping can feel really overwhelming for me with a wide open solar plexus. There's a lot, if you're good at looking at like putting clothes together and designing, like those types of energies, they're very, I see the patterns in corporate in the jobs they have, and I can feel that energy in and so it's always in the people that are attending the bride and getting the dresses, like all of that energy is always in fashion, which makes sense why I always feel so overwhelmed. But if I walk into a retail store like a Maurice's, where they're not hiring people necessarily that are going after fashion, it feels a lot less overwhelming and less disarming actually to go to a space like that. So it's just an observation I had for myself. In all fairness, perhaps this place didn't really have the right styles I was going for, but it was the right vibe that you bring girls to try dresses on. And what's interesting is that when I got back, I looked at all the photos they sent me, and I'm like, I hate all of these dresses. And was not that I felt like I knew like which one I wanted when I was there. Um, but I just wasn't excited about any of them. And that's just how I knew that it wasn't going to be one of them. I also didn't anticipate it being one. I thought I would order it online. That's another part of the story, but it's interesting to see how I responded when then I decided 2 hours before I went to go look at for another one, just was like, you know what, I'm going to go book an appointment by myself. I'm going to go to David's Bridal. So we'll give a little shout out to David's Bridal here in Knoxville. That's where I got a prom dress. It's probably where I'll go and find the right wedding dress for myself. Going for a backyard boho vibe, definitely the right space. Not really where you want to bring your girls. A lot of fluorescent lighting and mirrors. But I digress. Perfect experience for myself. I also learned as a 5-1 generator that um, I probably need to be in the energy of 62-year-old versus the Gen Zer that was in the first place for myself. And a gay man, I'm really used to that, grew up with that. So that makes sense. Different type of gay man that I grew up with, but it makes sense. And so, but from the moment I walked in, I could see a lot of these dresses and I was like, yes, that one. Yes, that one. These all sort of kind of fit more of the backyard vibe I'm going for since I'm getting married on my property. And the experience going alone just felt so much less overwhelming. And we talk about people pleasing, and I always talk about being a recovering people pleaser, and I really support people to just stop with that part. And this was an interesting opportunity for me to have a reminder of kind of where this memory stems from or where this and it's just out of nowhere that it gets to pop up. I spend time in meditation. I spend time doing HRV training, which is the heart bath, where I'm belly breathing, my eyes closed, listening to my heart, asking it to share any wisdom it has for me. And I didn't expect that to come up for me of remembering when I was in a choir concert and we had spent all day looking for the perfect outfit. And I was probably like fourth grade, and really hard to find clothes because at the time, like there was either adult clothes that my mom would wear or there was kids' clothes. But I was too tall for the kids' clothes. And we finally find this outfit. And I kind of remember just like really enjoying it. But I was aware that I didn't look like any of the other girls. I was always aware that I was not like the other kids. And this, I think, is the generator energy that I can speak to. There's a lot of other energies in my chart for sure, but um, generators are, yes, your manifestors and your projectors, there's less of them percentage wise, but there's 70% that are in the generator bucket. And the manifesting generators, the manifestors, and the projectors all move a lot faster than a generator. A projector can get done in 1 hour, what takes most people 4 hours. And if you hear that and you're like, that sounds like me, you're probably a projector. Manifestors initiate things and they can get things, manifesting generators can get things moving very quickly. And us generators are much slower. And so we are different. And that percentage is around 30%. I can see it with my nephew. There's only one of them that's generator out of the four of them. And he is also the one that kind of gets picked on a little bit. And so I also I think I was very aware of how different I am at the DSM might have given it the autism and the ADHD diagnoses. But I can see in my my nodes in my chart, I have one lines, and these are people that become authorities on behavior. We study human behavior. One lines naturally study. I'm a 5-1. And the fifth line for me is a messenger. It's looking to share. I have a 9 1 lines in my chart. So these would probably be the hyperfixations of the things I enjoy studying, which is why I'm not a silo and I've studied so many different things and being able to bridge all of that together. For example, being able to share with Dan that because he breathes with his mouth open, that his jaw was actually shortened and his feet are flatter. And he's like, get the fuck out of here. You're insane. And if you actually look up physiology and research, you will see this. And there's a lot of these connections that we don't have. I'm on a tangent as I get back to my wedding dress, but you can see where. But so back to this feeling of, so we spent all day looking for this perfect outfit, and I liked this outfit. I felt really good in this outfit. And I was aware that I wasn't like all the other girls. And, I stood in the back riser for one, which is where the boys stood. And my mom at the end of the concert said, you don't look like any of those other little girls. And that wasn't a good thing. And I didn't expect that memory to come up when I was just doing the heart and meditation and breathing. And the release of those tears of recognizing, because going with the girlfriends, I felt apologetic about bringing them. And I felt like I wouldn't ever want to have to make them do this again. There wasn't, and I, in this realization of perhaps they enjoyed that with you. um, and it made me think about why I felt even guilty about just being, why would I be challenging? Like ask for anything nice, like just make a decision. It's not that big of a deal. Was recognizing that I spent all this time trying to find this perfect outfit only to not look good in the pictures or only to, as my mom had said, like not look like everybody else. And that was a really nice release to kind of let that go when we talk about how do we shift a subconscious program? How do we heal the nervous system? Releasing is one of those ways. See, the brain, when you bring up a memory, it releases. If you can see my eyes, you can see that there's tears as I think about it. But these feel different than the other ones I had. Um, there was a deep sob of just knowing that your mom is confirming what you know that you don't want to be that. You want to be more like the chameleon. You want to look like others. And versus embracing that you stand out so that people can find you. And that's why when I go places, I know that I see this on like the social media, like, oh, look at me. I bring a ceramic mug. Like I've been doing that for a long time. All right. People and tacos were cool for a long time with me as well. You set the trends. You weren't following the trends. And it was just a nice kind of moment to have with my mom. And then here I go to try on dresses and I get the guy that's gay, like my dad. So my mom could come with me because she didn't get to come to the first wedding dress shopping. And that was another fun, fun probably. Well, is that the right word? I don't know. But another moment for me of recognizing there was a snowstorm in Chicago and my parents lived a couple hours outside the city. And so my mom wanted me to rebook my appointment. And I had all the girls there, and the snow didn't actually hit the city as much as it hit where my mom was. And so we just went, and then I kind of got peer pressured into picking a dress. And they offer you discounts if you get them the day of. This one did it as well, which is why I went home and then I went back and got it anyways because I talked it over with Dan. Um, it was different though when I walked out of that dressing room. I was the very so back to being a generator. I'm not supposed to be linear when I do these podcasts, so stay with me. So back into I'm gonna try on dresses. So he tells me you get to pull three, and I was in my head. I was like, I pulled like 10, and he's like maybe five. Three is always the number I pull, so I liked that. I didn't think about it until now, but now that I say that, I like that. So we get these dresses, and I wanted to try three different types of sleeve options. I knew I kind of wanted to have a sleeve because I always get cold in the weddings at night, but it's also May and it's Tennessee, whatever. But the very first dress I wanted to try on was the one I liked the most. And that was the one I ended up getting. So I said yes to the dress. It also had I had him take pictures of all of them so I could confirm that in a photo I actually liked myself in that dress as well. And he's like, listen, if you want to have all your friends put in opinions. And I'm like, no, I don't want any friend opinion. I just want to see what it looks like on a camera because that mirror, I don't know what's happening with the skinny mirrors. If you know Seinfeld, you get it. Um, and I recognize that it was just a nice reminder that generators, we go step by step by step, and a nice reminder that everyone learns through trial and error. And the more awareness that you bring to these experiences. So my error was like, they didn't really have any dresses that worked for me. My error was, why do I not feel like anybody? I want to have help. Like that people want to enjoy this moment with me. Why do I feel like I'm a burden? Um, And those were the questions that I brought to my heart. And so, what I'm hoping today's story sparks for you is what are some of those things that you want to just daily ask your heart? What are some of the even just open ended questions, that you might want to have your heart share with you? Meditation for people often looks like getting rid of these thoughts and like you're still in the brain. Just come and imagine the breath coming in through the heart. And as you breathe in, you're expanding your belly. And as you breathe out, you let out a nice there's lots of different ways to play with breathing. There's a book called Breath by James Nestor that has, I think, some great wisdom in there. There's a lot of ancient breathing techniques from India. There's the box breathing. And the belly breathing and release when you sigh. As you imagine each breath coming in through your heart, just ask it what it wants you to know, whether your eyes are open or closed. I'm not even sure mine were closed at the time that memory came back about my mom. And because of the snowstorm, she didn't actually get to see me try on all the dresses. She just got to see the dress I got. And as the fates would have it, that's what happened for my neighbor too, who, if you know Janice, you know, is the same age as my mom. She's just a few weeks older and has been like a second mom to me when we moved in next door here in Knoxville, Tennessee, with her pink door as a way to let me know that these are my people. It's just having a pink door. It was a small smile on my face when I pulled into the house because we didn't actually see the house until we moved to Tennessee that we're renting. And nobody got to see the dress that I actually bought and tried on because I did it by myself this time with perhaps mom smiling from above. Although I watched a psychic on Instagram and she said they don't give a shit about us. They have their own lives to live. Um, so I don't know. So this is your invitation to allow stories to be rewritten for yourself. Allow your heart to do the writing. Your head did the writing the first time. Your nervous system is doing the writing all the rest of the times. And my fun takeaway from doing this the second time and doing it right is getting to have more awareness about myself and areas that I hold myself back from in community. One of the tools I've been using since January 25th when it launched is called the Star Pearl with Gene Keys, Richard Rudd's work. And I'll be hosting another Katie's Classroom on that with an invitation to join my live classrooms, $2.99 a year for membership, and learn more about my journey through that and having your own journey alongside me, whether you want to purchase the program or not. And it is the art of contemplation, meditation, spending time in just holding awareness and embracing those shadows and egos that people are trying to crush to death. It is a privilege of a lifetime to always mine for gold. And gold is in the dirt. It is in the shadows. It's in the darkness. So you will always be mining for gold. You will just mine different. Literally. Thanks for tuning in to an episode of Katie's Classroom. If you'd like to be a member, click the link below so you can join the live classrooms. They are going to start in probably April. Stay tuned for when they start. You'll see that on there, but you'll get access to a bunch of content that you don't currently have access to now while you wait. April is right around the corner. I just don't have the official launch date yet. Stay tuned and give a hoot.